To be on camera, so it'd be nice. Hello.
Right, so conclusion and solution. So this is being filmed now, so I'll post this on the website, and so you've got this information if you come back to look at it at some point over the summer. Hello, hope you're having a nice summer holiday. Right, so you basically got 2 word counts to keep to. You've got your conclusions to start with. You've got 200 words. You've got 2 research questions, 100 words per research question. All you have to do you do this in science, but at the end of an experiment where you go back and look at, so what did you find? And essentially what it is, you've got to shorten down. You've got to shorten down all the stuff that you've just written 1,000 words on into 2 or 3 sentences. So remind yourself of what your main questions were again, and your hypotheses as well. So, how have geomorphic processes altered the coastline? Sitges, what have you found? What was the dominant geomorphic process in your mind? Was it erosion, was it transportation, or was it deposition? That's all you're going to say. I don't want to see any data, any detail. It's a general overall summary of what you found. Okay? Which one was it? Erosion, transportation, deposition. And don't forget, if you've got a hypothesis, if you've got a hypothesis, you also need to answer that. Did you prove it or not? Okay? Did you prove it or not? Do not forget to do that. So you do it twice. Once for how have geomorphic processes altered the coastline in Sitges, and secondly, how have they affected it? So what do they control the best? You'll probably talk about the fact they're trying to stop longshore drift. That's one of the major things they're trying to do. But you also know, does that cause problems further down the coastline? Yes, it does. You've got beach starvation. So stopping the problem in one place means that it just simply pushes that problem elsewhere further down the coastline. Luckily, in Sitges' case, there is no housing. There's nothing there really that can be eroded badly. However, there is what goes down the side of the coastline that they do need to protect. No further down. Transportation link. The railway, okay, the railway line. So that's one thing they do need to look after. So where that nightclub is, for example, where you've got the hard rock, there is more erosion, there is beach starvation. But how have people affected it? Which do they try to stop most? Are they trying to stop erosion? They're trying to stop transportation? Are they affecting deposition at all? Yes, they are doing all 3. Sticky necks on the line. Which one of those do they affect the most in your mind? And then try to make sure you answer your hypothesis. What was the hypothesis you put in your introduction? What have you found in relation to that? 100 words each research question. Do not go over. It's a basic statement that sums it all up. Okay? Second part. Your last part is your evaluation. 100 words. This is tough to get into 100 words. Okay? If you can use slightly less words for your conclusion, do so. If you can get it into 100 words or 150 words, do it to give you a bit more scope in your evaluation. Okay, so look at the example I've given you here. An evaluation is where you look at the methods that you carried out and you say how effective they were and what you might do to improve it. So, check out what I've given there. Your bipolar analysis that you did. Now, we didn't do that on the day because we didn't have time to do it. That's one weakness. But a bipolar analysis is Hero's personal perception. It's Martha's personal perception. It's Neve's personal perception. They change between people. Okay? And that's a weakness, actually. So, how could you improve it? Well, could you ask a cross-section of local people instead? A local person, someone that works for the council, someone who is specialist in coastal protection. You're good geographers, but you're not experts on the engineering behind coastal protection. So what you need to do is you need to go through your methodology table. And all the methods you've used, you need to evaluate. Very, very, very briefly. Here are your methods. Your beach profile. Open a Word document, take some notes on what I'm about to say. Okay? Have a think about it. Here are your methods. I don't know if you've used all of these or not. It depends on what you've decided to answer and how you've answered it. But your beach profile, you did width and gradient. I've already told you, don't even put the gradient in if you haven't used it in your interpretation. Ignore that bit. The length and the depth from the groin to the beach. Can you think of any ways how they could have gone wrong? Or any ways that they did go wrong because you were the guys that were there on site on the day? Are there anything you found difficult to do there on the days, or
like to like walk exactly 30 paces out on the ground because other groups might have had different.
So is that what they said? You've got to go out 30 paces.
Yeah.
Okay. So how could that be different, for example, from Ollie all the way to Kerry?
I haven't done it.
Okay. Neve?
People will take bigger strides.
Yeah, if you've got someone that's taller than the other, then of course that 30 pace is going to be slightly shorter or slightly longer, depending on how tall or small you are. If you've got someone with little tiny legs, then that's going to be a shorter distance. So perhaps that 30 paces wasn't accurate. Did anyone come across any other problems as they were taking any measurements on the beach at all? The width measurements, the gradient measurements, Ayla?
Well, sometimes there's like people anywhere.
Of course there is. You went to a public beach, which was just coming into season. There were people in the way, possibly, for some of you. Okay, so those people in the way, maybe you had to take a sidestep to one side. Maybe where you put the ranging pole down to measure the gradient, there was a big hole where someone had made a footprint in the sand. Was it pure fresh sand that no one had touched? No, it wasn't. Okay, it was, the sand was disturbed because people had been walking on it or playing football on it or playing volleyball on it. So maybe that made your measurements, knocked your measurements out very slightly. Okay? So your width, for example, could have been interrupted by people in the way. Your depth from the groin to the beach could have been interfered with by people being sat there, or the 30 paces could have been affected by how tall or how small you are. Perhaps it wasn't the same for everybody. What about your pebble beach, your long shots where you measured the angle and the length of the pebble? Wasn't anything dodgy, was there? Anyone find anything difficult? So you did Swash Zone and then Storm Beach. Zoro?
Somebody could have walked on the pebbles you were going to use.
Yeah, exactly. It's a public beach. Someone could have walked down that beach, paddling down, knocking all those pebbles out of shape. Okay? If it was a completely untouched beach, naturally all the pebbles should have been pointing the same way. Did you all have your pebbles pointing the same way on that compass rose? No. And that probably shows that people, they didn't do it to pee you off. It wasn't, oh, there's going to be some joggers come down. Let's make it so that all their results go all over the place. It's a beach. People walk on beaches. It was a nice day. It was a sunny day. So your anomalous results are probably a result of simply people, tourists, walking up and down that beach. Okay, knocking those pebbles, and the sea not having quite enough time to push them back into position. What could you have done to improve that, do you think? What could you have done, Kerry?
Well, select a wide range and then see what's the better.
Select a wide range, possibly. Ayla?
Go early in the morning.
Maybe go very early in the morning, get you up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So the sea's had all night to do its magic, and of course you get there before the first tourists arrive. That would work in the Swash Zone. On the Storm Beach Zone it wouldn't, because that tends to be removed, that tends to be more affected by tourists. Or I could have taken you further around the coast to more secluded beaches. However, we don't go to those beaches anymore because they tend to be nudist beaches. Okay? We made that mistake once. Hera, don't put that in your evaluation, by the way. Hera.
Or we could go in the winter time.
Oh yes, we go in the winter time. I take you down there in the nice stormy period in about February. We go and freeze our backsides off on the beach. Okay? The problem with doing it in a tourist location is always that people are going to interfere with your results. They don't mean to, but they just are. Okay? Field sketches. Any weaknesses in field sketches? Any weakness? No? All good jurors? Okay? That varies from person to person. If you're a good artist, that's going to be a strong point for you. If you're not, it's going to be a bit more tricky. Do you recognise everything that you saw on the field sketch? Did you go close enough to see it? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know, I wasn't there with you. You can maybe critique that. Okay? You haven't got a lot of words to play with here, people, so you might not want to critique that too much. Photos, other observations. Well, photos don't lie, do they? Okay? Photos don't lie. I wouldn't worry about evaluating photos. I would evaluate your beach profile, I would evaluate your longshore drift data, and I would evaluate your bipolar analysis if you've included it and talked about it. Okay? That's what I would evaluate. Right. You could definitely do with more than 100 words on that. If you can get your conclusion to about 150 and give yourself 150 on that, that would be great. But you're going to struggle. It's just a small sentence to say, this is what we did, this is what didn't work, this is how we could improve it. Guys, you can put that, I suggest, in a table if I were you. I'm not sure if I put the example of the table in here. It often helps to do it. No, but you could simply have 3 columns: method, limitations, improvements. Methods, limitations, improvements. 3 columns. Method, bipolar analysis. Limitation, here. Improvements, this section here. Can you not copy that word for word either? Okay, that's the example on the board. Don't copy that word for word. Put it in your own words, please. Otherwise the examiner's going to be thinking, what's going on here? They do see my site and they use that as a guidance, but they don't want you copying something that's already there. That's called plagiarism. Okay? So put that one in your own words, please, people. Ollie, you're on film. Ask the question. Nice and clear, please. Hang on, you can't ask that on camera. Right. Is there anything that you don't understand about those last 2? Okay, here's the deal for you. In an ideal world, I would like those in before Thursday to give me a chance to mark them and give them back to you before you go. And that means that anything you hand in September only needs to come back to you once, then your coursework is done and finished. Okay? That's an hour's worth of work. If I hadn't been talking this lesson, you could have done that, both of those things, and handed it in by the end of this lesson. But we can't do that. You can have a good 40 minutes to get this done. You'll be able to do your conclusion this lesson, and probably about half of your evaluation. I would really, really, really like it if you could get that into me in dribs and drabs before Thursday. If I get it back before Thursday, I will work really, really hard to get it back to you. Probably scan it using the school photocopier on Friday and send it back to you as a PDF attachment so you can see what you need to change. Okay? That way, in September, you can come back with a final draft of your data interpretation and your conclusion and your evaluation. And then it's done. You don't need to worry about your coursework at all after that first one. All we need to do is go through and make sure we've got page numbers. I'll do the referencing with you, print it out for the final time. The administration stuff. But it doesn't carry on into September, which is what I would like. So it's whether or not you can spare another 40 or 45 minutes this week to get it done. I would highly recommend that you do that. What you want is your coursework done and complete by the time we come back in September, because we're getting cracking straight away with our next piece of work, and homework will start straight away. So that's what I'd kind of quite like. Now I know that some of you might be heading off early this week, and so that's not an option for you. You will get back from me on Wednesday and Thursday your marked version of your interpretation. Okay? So you'll have that, all of you will have that back with my marks and my grades on. I've already done 3 of them. Okay? If you can get this to me Wednesday, ideally, to give me a day to turn it around to give you back, I would much appreciate that, and it will make your life a huge amount easier over the holidays and in September. Okay? It's 300 words, people. It's 300 words. It's about 2/3 of a page of A4 typed up. Both things. Okay? So without too much further ado, get your conclusion done. 200 words. Answer the question, what did you find? Did you prove your hypothesis right or wrong? You're going to need to have your interpretation open to be able to do that because you're repeating what you did, but you're summarising it. Okay? Start it on a new page, as always. Heading, conclusion, and make sure you put your word count under there. Now, I'm just going to leave these on here, just for you to come and write on your total word count at the top of each of the sections. And if I could ask you just to work that out for me now, and then put your word count on there. Yeah, there's okay. So Sophie, for example, I've got yours is 973. For the rest of you, could you write it on the front cover for me, please?
The word count doesn't count the title.
No, it doesn't count the titles. No, all the subtitles, all the captions underneath photos, or the headers, or the footers, or the page numbers. None of that's counted.
Not the only one.
Can you write it on the top of your deck? I'm not going to remember that. Can you put it in a plastic wallet? Yeah.
I think there wasn't something right. So I have to like explain all of it.
Maybe you should like shut down a few of the social network
Just the one.
Just the one might be enough.
So you could say you found evidence of all three, however the one that I found the most effect was.
And then so someone
Yeah.
goes here.
Look at this.
So obviously you've seen that the link in between these two things here is that the targeting, the protection of the code by having, as well as the geology, is the weakest weak of the softest rock. And there's a hardest rock that there's very little work that needs to go into place.
Why don't you just leave it alone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's only regular, do some storage.
Yeah, so you need to start from the beginning. So the very first map on your introduction is figure 1, the second map is figure 2.
It has,
About
it's
time to get
it
to
has.
probably like figure 50 or 60.
You get tired, you get tired
Yeah, so the description you give me kind of a summary of everything you haven't actually included data from your graphs to back up. Okay. Wherever I put data, you need to put in data. Yeah, you need to have more than to get it up to at least 10.
It's not difficult.
At the moment, it's more descriptive than it is data intensive.
You're gonna have to film.
Yeah, well, I thought Reece might like me to keep that filming. Okay.